Welcome to the Effects Loop. I'm Scott.
And I'm Phillip.
We're keeping you in the loop with the guitar community. This week's episode is brought to you by our new and favorite sponsor, Electromotive Sound Company. They are back, and their shop is live with the Clone V3. And Phil, none of you have a camera because I'm not paying for that. But Phillip is holding the Clone V3 right in my camera right now. Click the button just for fun's sake right now. Oh yeah.
You can tell that's quality switching right there.
Good quality switches. You got the clean blend mod in there. You've got a high gain mod in there.
Dude, the high gain mod completely changes this pedal. Completely changes it into maybe my new favorite drive.
Wow.
Like, at least because it's not high gain. It's just like, I would say it's about double the gain of a traditional Klon.
Oh, it's not bad.
Man, it sounds so good. It doesn't fit for every rig. Like, I don't play my 335 through anything with this much mid push kind of thing. But like for Strats and Telecasters, holy crap, it's so good.
Well, there you have it. Holy crap, it's so good. Electromotive Sound Company.
You can quote me on that.
I think we'll have a link in the show notes. Yes, we will have a link in the show notes. Go check them out.
Yeah, go buy them up.
I mean, we were going to have a link in the show notes. I was just double checking if I put it in last week too. I did. I did put it in. Also, if you don't read our show notes, you've been missing an Easter egg for like 6 months, and Diaz still hasn't found it. So please. Go check that out. Anyway, Phillip, what is new with you, buddy?
Man, what is new? What do I want to talk about? See, this is what happens when I come on the show like twice a year. There's a lot in between.
It's like every other month. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Yeah, it's true. Played a bunch of gigs. That was fun. Hoping to gig more. I got a gig this weekend. That's going to be good. You
had a really good one in the pre-app, actually.
What's that?
You had a really good one we were talking about in the pre-app.
Oh yeah. I've had a bunch of good gigs, and I'm really excited about them. But I've got the big one. I think bigger than that one you're talking about. I put a deposit on a new guitar. Talk about the really exciting one. I put a deposit in on a Mule Mavis.
I don't like to admit that based on your Mule purchase, definitely not this year, but a Mule maybe in my future.
Posencaster?
Maybe. I'm trying to think of like I would probably finally sell my Schecter and go to that.
Well, here's the deal. I'm almost certain Mule is going to be back at Fretboard Summit in August, and he will probably have a Posencaster with him.
I'm planning on chatting with him when we're there.
Yeah. So yeah, I finally broke down. I sold a bunch of stuff and decided I didn't need some other things, and I had some gigs that paid me some pretty good money over the last couple of weeks, and I was like, you know what? It's time. It's because I was looking at like what my gig money is traditionally my gear money, right? That's what I spend to buy gear. And I was like, well, now I've got this money. I'm going to buy. I don't need anything. Like I could have bought this or that or the other. And then I was like, okay, what have I wanted that I don't know? Because I've got a bunch of dream guitars, at this point. I'm like, what's a hole that I have? And I immediately was like, oh yeah, that Mule. I want a Mavis. I played one last year at Fretboard Summit, and I was like, this is like one of the most inspiring guitars to play I've ever picked up in my life. And so I was like, I need one. So I ordered that. It'll be about 3 months, so it'll be a while. But I was surprised he still had a 3-month turnaround, if I'm honest.
Maybe he's just got a good system.
Yeah, he posted recently about how many he's made. 400 of them or so far since he started building guitars.
Wow.
So, but it's a good guitar. Other what's new, what you alluded to with the pre-episode talking about. I've been trying out the Neural amp softwares, the various ones. I've got a bunch of the trials going right now, playing through them, and I'm really, really impressed. They sound really, really, really good. And there's a part of me that it's sort of like, so I bought a Mesa, right? I have the Mesa Mark V, right? I didn't buy it to gig. I bought it to have around to play higher gain tones because I never gig high gain tones. I might be able to sell that and just buy the Mesa from Neural. It's $100, and I could sell the Mark V in cab and be much better off. It may be something I go towards just because I'm only going to play those tones at home. They're not something I'll ever play live.
Yeah, like the Tremonti, I honestly haven't turned on and since the week I got it.
Yeah.
Which is probably a sign.
Yep.
Where I kind of went, oh, that's what it is, and then just didn't. And like I haven't dialed any tone where I'm like, yes, this is my thing, and let's get this captured. And I haven't necessarily messed with like, the amp models and stuff and the captures that are in that world in my QC. I just kind of wanted to try an amp with it before I went to the modeling side. And the thing this is the thing I've sort of so far figured out about high gain amps is the tone stack in a high gain amp doesn't do a whole heck of a lot. And it's basically your speaker choice is then like 90% of your tone.
It's the most important EQ.
Yeah. And then and people are, Tom is probably clenching a piece of paper right now and whatever. But like, there is difference between high gain stuff. Like the way it crunches is different, but that's the nuance part of things. And at least to the uninitiated, the cab is the big purchase. You got to figure out what cab you want.
And then even then, you got to figure out what speakers you want to go in there.
Yeah.
Which is something I discovered just using the Captor X with the Mesa. Okay, yeah, I've got the cab, the 1x12 I've got, but it's like, hey, let's see what this sounds like into a 212 with this speaker and such in the 2-note software. And the amount of variation from speaker cabinet to speaker cabinet is so massive. So
massive. Yeah, but that's also the weird thing about it. Like with the 2-notes, man, we're going way deep into this. But the 2-notes, when you get into the jumping cabs mode, ear fatigue sets in really quick. Where you're just like, oh, these all sound like garbage. And then you fire one up later and you're like, this sounds fine. As long as I don't hop between them, I think this sounds fine.
Yeah.
But when you start hopping between them, there's just something that happens that really annoys you. I noticed this with the Kemper when I was hopping between Kemper profiles a lot too. So
I'll tell you something about the 2-notes that I'm discovering, especially after starting to play some of these neural amp simulations, is that by the time I take my real amp, and I've always had this like with the Captor, like it sounds good enough, but it doesn't sound really good. Like it sounds good enough, but like by the time I take my amp and go into there and go through the speaker simulation, it doesn't feel like my amp anymore.
No, it's a mic amp.
It's a mic amp. And also, I have found that my amps at the same setting into the Captor X, even into speakers, like I'll take my 2-Rock, for example, right? I play my 2-Rock into the 212 cabinet and I play it. It's great. I take that amp, no setting changes, go through the Captor and go through the 2-Rock 2x12 cabinet in the 2-notes wall of sound, and it sounds crunchier, more overdriven. It compresses more. It doesn't sound as good, and that's without changing a single setting. It's really frustrating to dial in sometimes. And so I don't know. I'm at a point now where I think maybe the 2-notes could go too, and I can just use for recording purposes things like the neural for that kind of stuff, or just freaking mic a cab. I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna mic cabs. I've got the mics, I've got the cabs. Let's do it.
Honestly, modeling is really great because it's there, it's set up, it's plugged in. Once you dial it in, you don't have to ever come back to it. Never have to tape your crap up.
Yep.
It's great.
It's great. No, for recording purposes, it's really, really, really convenient.
Yeah. Having said that, What's new this week.
Let's talk about your other amp.
I bought a broken amp. Well, it's functioning, but it shouldn't. And I bought a 1977 Fender Champ.
Nice. I'm so glad you bought that amp.
Well, I sent it to you, and you're like, "Buy it now. Just buy it now."
Because if you didn't, I was going to.
Yeah. So my other what's new is I got a bunch of electrolytic caps and some new resistors.
Oh, nice.
And I think I'm going to be replacing about 90% of the components in there. But I mean, I opened it up. It had an original capacitor in it and it had original resistors still. It's already been recapped once, so I'm not ruining it by recapping it again.
Right.
But the electrolytics is leaking, and it's something they say 10 years is how long electrolytics last. I don't buy that.
I don't buy that at all.
I think a good electrolytic should last about 20. But but they're also saying like the bad ones are like 5.
Yeah, like my Super Reverb, I finally replaced the caps in it in 2020, and they had been in that amp since 1970. So
I still have some original caps in my Super Reverb, but I also have some non-original ones. So they didn't just all do it all at once. But
yeah, I had to just at least all the electrolytics. Well, I was having it converted to black panel spec anyway, and so I was like, while you're in there, these caps are 50 years old. It's time to go ahead and change the electrolytics.
Well, the other beautiful thing is with the bigger Fenders is you don't even have to open the amp up to get at them.
Yeah, they're down in the doghouse underneath.
Yeah.
He had to open it up anyway. It's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, that champ's going to be super rad. That's like the perfect like crank it up and go amp.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to at least mess with it for a little while, and I probably will wind up selling it just because the flip on it once it's running
it's going to be good. Yeah.
It's worth it for the hour and a half's work I'm going to put into it. And then I get to play with it for a while, and then I get to make money. So no complaints. 100%. And also, that's an amp I can sell locally.
Oh, yeah. It's also one that's easy to ship because it's so small and light if you needed to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're in the right area. You could sell it so easily.
I'd rather sell it locally just from the not having to ship it. And also someone can plug it in, not mess with me,
Yeah. I tell you what, find a Chicago area harmonica players Facebook group and just list it in there. It'll go same day. Gone. Harmonica players love those amps.
Oh, that's good to know. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Well, with that, should we dive into a little bit of news from this week? Because I think I've coined the word Namtermath before. It's post NAMM week, so there's still a little bit spilling out. There's been some actually new releases that were independent of NAMM that you and I might be both guilty of giving money to. So, and someone else broke the news on that, so we're not breaking embargo talking about it. I don't know why he said don't post about it. But anyway.
Right.
We'll talk about that. But first up, we are fresh off another national holiday, which was April 20th. And with that, Keeley Electronics has announced a 420 edition of the Mini compressor.
Yeah.
Or compressor Mini.
Yeah, it's a fun little design. It's in his first time. He's done a few 420 releases.
Yeah, Diaz has his pepper grinder.
That's right. I think last year he did a I can't remember what he did. Let's see if I can find it quickly. But he loves to do these little homages and little nods to 420.
The artwork on this one's actually kind of funny. It's a doobie, or no, it's the pedal smoking a doobie.
That's it.
Looking at itself in an ornate mirror. Is that what I'm seeing?
Let me see. I didn't get the mirror. Oh, it is kind of in some kind of ornate mirror, isn't it?
Or some frame kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's an interesting little thing. Number 420 at the top, the RKFX, Robert Keeley effects. I don't know. It's a lot of fun. It's his compressor though. It's
his 2-knob compressor.
Yeah, it's his little 2-knob mini compressor. They sound great. Now it's fun. They're probably sold out by now. Oh yeah, they sold out. They're going to do another round of them.
Nice. Okay, here's a fun question. Keeley has come out with cheaper compressors. He used to be the name of the game for compressors, and then the Compressor Plus and now this have really kind of lowered his price point a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that was a good decision or a bad decision?
Well, I think...
Did it secure his spot? Because like the Walruses of the world weren't really coming into that zone. You're just seeing JHS come into that price point in Walrus now, but like before they were all not there. And then you had the Origin Effects craziness stuff, right?
Yeah.
So
I still think it's wild that I still think it's ridiculous that you can buy a Keeley 4-knob or 2-knob compressor used for like $85 or whatever they're going for now. I haven't looked in a while, but
it's kind of devalue. And you kind of wonder, did he devalue it by saying the price point's so low? Because I remember when the Compressor Plus came out, he was like, "Oh, we're going to raise the prices to 170 later, but we're doing this now for earlier release," and it never went up.
Yeah, used Compressor Plus is $112 right now. You can get a mini for $99. You can get the 4-knob compressor for $75.
Yeah, it's so cheap.
That is the most. So here's the deal. I think with compressors, there's only a few real names in this game as far as like widespread. You've got Keeley, you've got Wampler with the Ego, and you've got the Origin stuff.
You got the Orange Squeezer from JHS. You've got the Deep Six from Walrus.
I don't see any of those as ubiquitous as I do those three, though.
Yeah, the Deep Six had a hot minute in the Gear Talk Praise and Worship world.
Yeah.
But it got the reputation for being noisy.
That's all compressors. Like, people forget that's what they do. That's like, I don't know.
It's called using a noise gate, guys.
Exactly. But I think...
Put it before your compressor.
But I think those three, and especially the Wampler, like I see so many egos on pedal boards. Whether the mini or the regular. I feel like Wampler has kind of solidified himself as the overdrive and compressor one-stop kind of guy. But I don't know.
But I mean, that's also Nashville scene is where he excels. You see the chicken picking guys, they love Wampler.
Exactly.
And some of the hair metal guys love Wampler, but like you don't see Wampler big in the transparent overdrive world.
Nope, you just don't.
So.
Although he has a couple that are great, but that's not his thing.
He was also really late to the game. Like the only one you see was the Tumnus Mini because he was one of the first mini clones.
Yeah.
And the added bass because he revoiced the clone. But yeah.
And then the Tumnus Deluxe, which I mean, it's fine.
It's good.
But yeah, I think Keeley will always be to me because that was the first pedal I had from him, and the one I had the longest was the 4-knob compressor.
I recommend the Compressor Plus to tons of people when they're starting out.
I think I like the Compressor Plus the most because it has the blend knob.
Yeah.
So you can get a little bit of that clean signal back in there, which is part of why one of the reasons I love the Origin versions. Of course, you look at the price difference. What's a brand new? Let's see. I'll click on brand new Keeley Compressor Plus is gonna run you $150.
Oh, so it has gone up. It used to be like $120.
Yeah, it's $149, brand new. And, I'm holding my Cali 76. This is a $419 compressor. I mean, I still think Keeley is the best value in compressors today, even at $149.
Yeah, definitely. Well, with that, we're talking about value. Let's move on to the next thing because we're going to have to start setting a timer with us.
Yeah, we're going to have to set a time.
You and I talk. We just talk.
It's okay. This one's going to go fast.
Your wife's going to be so mad at us.
She'll be fine.
Okay.
She'll be all right.
She'll be like, I got so much time by myself.
Yep. Good, somebody else for him to yell at.
Yeah. So I can't remember if we talked about this last week or not, but we did talk about a Nuix pedal, but it was the thing that looked like Boss pedal. Anyway.
Yeah.
The Nuix has revealed the new Core series, which includes the Nuix Metalcore Deluxe Mark II, the Modcore Deluxe Mark II, and a few more. Primarily shown here is the Metalcore Deluxe Mark II. It has 3 different high gain amp models in it, and it also, so it's got a dual rectifier. Players will be able to use the dual recto amp based on. There's a Friedman BE100, i.e. Marshall, and a Diesel VH4 style thing. It uses their TSAC HD modeling. I'm not entirely sure what that is, but I'm assuming it's a digital modeling thing. But it also includes an IR out, so it has cab sim built into it too. That is coming in at $99. Also has true bypass and some auto saving parameters.
I mean, if you're into that whole high gain world and you want a quick and easy and cheap direct to board, I guess, sound, you can go here.
It also has a mobile app and computer editor software on it.
Okay.
So this is a fully programmable, like, digital thing at $99. This price point keeps going down for where you're full digital. There's also the Mod Core Deluxe Mark II, which has a Boss CE1 bass thing, an MXR stereo chorus, and a Univibe. And also included is a stereo chorus flanger and Phase 100 style things.
Yeah. It's also MIDI connective.
Jeez.
Universal audio.
It has tap tempo as well.
It's MIDI connectable. I don't use the MIDI on my UA pedals because it doesn't have it. If I had it, I wouldn't use it, but it should be there.
I've spoken my piece on UA stuff, and there's a reason I don't have a UA pedal anymore.
Oh, I bought the effects, not the amp models, but I really like them. I think they sound better than my Strymon stuff did. And I don't miss the MIDI because I don't need it, but I can understand people really needing it. So
I like it if you're going to have multiple tones in something. MIDI is what you need to unlock with it.
Digression.
But this is something I actually wanted to bug you about. Boss, it shouldn't be in the pedal section, but it is. Boss has launched the Gigcaster.
Yeah, I'm pumped about these.
All-in-one MIDI caster for musicians and streamers. There's soft buttons and all this kind of stuff. So it's got a Gigcaster 5 and 8, naturally 5 channels, 8 channels. But, there's more. It's technically like, a 16 by 12 USB interface. So there's 8AT and probably or stuff. We'll get to the features there later. But what's interesting is there's a lot of customizable buttons in it, which is sort of the newer thing in a lot of these. Coming in at $499 or $699 for the Gigcaster 8, it's the more expensive one. Is this going against the Rodecaster? Is that what we're seeing these guys go after? What is? Yeah. Or is this a whole new market?
So this is going after the Rodecaster. It's also going after the Tascam put out a version of it that I can't remember what it's called as well. This is priced higher than those things. This is more expensive. I can't remember if the Rodecaster is $499 or $599. So once you get to the Gigcaster 8, it's more expensive. I'm trying to get them to send me one of these to check out. I know Blake Weiland has one, or both of them. I don't know. But I think it's a really interesting device that has a lot of different uses. I think it has a great use for... it's got a great use for streamers, because you can stream directly from it. A lot of audio input, of course, podcasting, obviously. So a lot of the talk was like you can use the smaller one. People were using it for like guitar lessons, like their Zoom guitar lessons. So they have a way to do lots of inputs and stuff like that.
Well, having the whole GT1000 effects processors in here is a big deal.
That's massive. That's a huge benefit. So I don't know. I'm here for it. I think these are going to be really rad. I want to get my hands on one though before I'm like, yes, this is the truth kind of thing.
It's functional. I can see a lot of people really loving it.
Yep.
It's expensive though, and that's always the thing with Boss. Is once it gets expensive, people kind of start going, "Nah, not Boss."
Yeah,
not
people turn their nose up at expensive Boss things.
Waza tube amp expander versus the once UA does something, we're all like, "Oh yeah." Like,
right.
It's weird. Like if there was a different brand name on this,
Yeah, it's sort of like the tube amp expander. That thing is a phenomenal unit.
It is.
Arguably better than the aux. Because it's got a bunch of extra features like the built-in 100-watt power amp. The
aux box has a power amp in it too?
Does the aux?
Yes.
I didn't think it had one. I thought it was just...
No, they both have that, yeah.
Okay, because that was a big thing for that, is that you get your sound to sound exactly what you want it to, then you can run it out to a speaker and drive that speaker as loud as you want it to.
As loud or quiet as you want to.
Exactly.
Versus the stepping that we have with like the 2-note stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, I think I don't know. We'll see what it ends up doing. I wonder though, with the advent of the affordable interface, especially things like the UA Volt, and how easily it is to get a hold of a $100-$200 interface, how super viable this is in that world.
Yeah, I mean, so we've had this discussion before. Particularly when we were talking about, when you and I were doing Summer NAMM together, and like, how are we going to do a show together all live, right?
Yeah.
So that's a practical example that, probably half our listeners are starting their own guitar podcast at some point because they see how little skill we have at doing it, and they're like, let's do it.
That's exactly right.
So there's that side of it. And you and I went through, we were like, all right, you brought the Rodecaster. We had Diaz, I think, brought his field recorder that had like 4 inputs on it.
Yeah, he brought his H6.
In years prior, I brought my Motu 8 Pre, which is a whole rack unit audio card. The 8 Pre was the only one that let us do 8 channels and was less than your Rodecaster and, all that kind of stuff. But it was literally all in the box.
Yeah, exactly. It's all
like,
there.
But like, all it was inputs and a gain knob, and you had to do everything else in editing and all that kind of stuff. So is that you got to figure out what matters for you in any given situation. So I prefer to do a lot of stuff just with software. I find it easier. We don't run a soundboard on our episode, but we totally could.
Right.
But people like having, physical buttons to run a sound card. Or were you and I doing the show on a Rodecaster, I might have Bluetoothed you in using my phone to do this interview instead of me doing this elaborate. It's not as elaborate now that Pro Tools made it native, but like having, loopbacks and things off the computer. So, I think there's definitely a market of people just need an all-in-the-box thing.
Yep.
Especially non-podcasters. Like if you can get your son's friend over to set this up for you and you just hit play every week, you have your podcast.
Yep, that's absolutely right. Well, also with all of the inputs and the multiple outputs, this also could become a silent jamming tool.
Or I'm going to go play a gig with my 3 friends.
Right.
And we don't have to mic the drums.
Yep, that's it. I think there's a lot of uses for this. I need to see more of it in use and actually hear the quality of the sound to really, because that was something like with the Rodecaster. I found that like I thought, oh, this would be great. I can plug my guitar in and and I can stream that way. The guitar sound didn't come through very well. It did not work very well at that.
That's bad.
You would think Boss will be better at that because that's what they do. We'll find out.
I mean, yeah. Moving on. Heather Brown Electronics releases a Spirit in the Sky fuzzed out tremolo pedal exclusively with Reverb.com. I saw ads for this on Reverb all last week, and I kept meaning to go listen to a demo, and I never found one. Did you get a chance to listen to it?
No, not at all. I haven't found. This is actually the first I'm seeing it.
Okay. Oh, there's an Andy demo, so you'll get to hear his clean tone first.
But I really like Heather Brown pedals. The Blessed Mother was one that I really, really liked there for a little bit.
Oh, yeah, that was them.
Yeah, that's Heather Brown. They also did the... I can't remember the name of this other one, though. Oh, no, it's just other versions of the Blessed Mother. So they're all the Blessed Mother. But that makes the Sensation fuzz drive. I am not seeing any more of these available. Spirit in the Sky. Yeah, it looks like they must have all sold out. They sold in British pounds for $227. Is that what I saw?
Yeah. What's interesting is no one's started flipping them yet.
No. And I wonder if they will. It's not exactly, Heather Brown's not a huge name. So not everybody knows what they are. I wonder though, I don't know. I like the idea of the fuzzed out tremolo. I really like those sounds. But I wonder if this is like a year and a half too late.
Maybe.
I don't know. I want to try one. I'll probably listen to the Andy demo. I don't know if it's going to be a regular thing or if now that they're sold out, they're sold out. Nope. The colorway is a limited run. Okay.
Oh, good. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Actually, while we're talking about colorways and multiple colorways, I think it's a natural transition to start talking about 1981 inventions.
Yeah, let's talk about this new pedal.
Many, many, many colorways of the DRV.
many colorways.
He is pausing.
So many.
He is pausing on the DRV for a little while, and has announced to only his mail list subscribers. But now you're starting to see it trickle into the news. I'm going to call it the level, but the LVL.
Yeah, the LVL.
Which is a new non-transparent overdrive circuit. 2-knobber. You got a level and a volume on it. There are no demos out there.
Nope.
But it's something that Matt said he really wanted to do and announced it. And announced it only in collaboration with John Snyder of Electrical Audio Experiments. Apparently they've been working for 4 years on developing this new pedal.
So he's got this description: low gain, which achieves overdrive gain ranges with a unique, newly crafted circuit. Like I'm gonna need to see this. I'm gonna need to. You're gonna have to prove to me that you came up with a truly unique new circuit. Because
rumor has it that it's closer to a 250.
It gives me 250 vibes. The description, it's like it's a combination of light clipping and op amp push. I need to see it, and then I need to see it, and then I need to hand it to electrical engineers and be like, tell me what I'm looking at, because I don't know. But
we know a number of people who have pre-ordered one.
Yeah, me.
Yeah, me
and you. So we'll see when it gets in. I haven't even gotten a shipping notification yet.
Yeah, well, we won't get them until about June, I don't think. But
oh my gosh, I knew it would be a little while. But I didn't know that
it officially launches June 6th.
Okay,
so that's when more will be available.
Okay,
or at least pre-orders will be out and everything like that. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that. Also, sign up for mailing list.
Yeah. Get on these builders' mailing list, please.
Especially like when you're complaining about stuff that sells out, you need to be on their mailing list. Like if you're always complaining about like Chase Bliss stuff selling out and you're not able to get a hold of it, that's because you're not on their mailing list.
Yeah, that's exactly why.
All right, that ends pedals officially for NAMM.
That's pretty good.
Not bad. No. Considering none of those guys were at. Well, Boss was at NAMM and Nuix was, but
no, Boss wasn't.
Boss wasn't at NAMM?
No, they had some people there, but they didn't have a booth.
Wow.
Yeah, Boss wasn't there.
Man, no Fender, no Gibson.
The talk is though, I was listening to some post NAMM coverage. Gibson is coming back next year. They have said they will be back.
I still think Summer NAMM in Nashville for Gibson was always the opportunity to really show off.
Oh yeah,
because it was basically their show.
It was their backyard.
Yeah.
But we'll see. They said they're back. My plan is to go to NAMM in January. So,
all right,
that's it. I'm gonna be there. We'll see how it goes.
I probably won't. All right.
I hope Nashville comes back personally. But yes.
Yeah, but while we're speaking of Gibson, Epiphone has unveiled a 335 Jim James model.
Yeah,
and I gotta say, I kind of love it.
Yep.
It is a 335 dot in a walnut finish, fretboard binding. slim taper C profile, maple body, mahogany neck. So that's an important distinction. Like probably everyone's like, well, what the heck? We already have the oh goodness, why am I blanking on the Epiphone that everyone buys?
The 335?
Sheridan,
yeah.
the Sheridan's a maple neck, so that's the big difference.
Yep.
Coming in at $899 American dollars. So it is a little. The inspired by Gibson 335 was 700, 600.
I think it's actually $599.
Is it that cheap? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's $599.
And
now, if you buy now, it's marked down to $479 for certain finishes. But yeah, it's $599 usually.
That's not bad.
$699 if you want the figured finish, the figured curly maple, whatever. But this feels like it's right in line with the Emily Wolf signature. Mm-hmm. Because I think that I'm not even thinking. I'm going to look it up. Is $899.
Yeah. So where his Gibson had a different set of pickups, or his original one did. These are going to be Alnico Classic Pro humbuckers. That's the same one that's on the Noel Gallagher Riviera.
Yep.
CTS pots, orange drop capacitors. Which is
I'm not seeing a problem with this. I like this.
I really love the walnut finish. I think it looks great.
Good. I don't like it as much as I like the traditional Gibson walnut finish. It's a little lighter than this, but it looks good.
The Locktone 2 pneumatic bridge as well. I'm just trying to call out any other unique stats about this thing, but
they specifically talk about the nut width being 43 millimeter, but I don't know if that's different from standard spec. But they do specifically mention it.
Yeah.
It's a Laurel fingerboard for those of people that hate Laurel. Just giving you a heads up.
I kind of like Laurel.
I don't have a problem with it. I think I like it to be a little darker, and you can darken it. That's an easy thing to do.
Actually, I like that. It encourages you to oil your fingerboard.
Yeah.
Or if you really hate it, just go get some furniture stain and just hit it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That'll be fine. Speaking of being fine, Seymour Duncan has an updated version of the Slash humbucker. It's called the Slash 2.0 humbucker.
Whoop-de-doo.
It's a hotter wind while maintaining the clarity and tone profile. So for all those listening who are over 40, here you go. And moving on.
I do need to mention this, though. I get it. I get people are really into Slash, but I have literally never bought anything ever because it had an affiliation with Slash.
He sells products, man.
He does. Oh, I know. And apparently outside the U.S., it's massive.
Yeah.
Like, it's ginormous. But I'm like, do we really have to remake every single thing? Like, where's the line of Slash hair products? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Honestly, he should have a cigarette. Signature cigarette.
Yep.
Are you smoking Slashes? Yeah. It works.
And that's actually pretty rad.
Yeah. By the way, these are only $119 per pickup.
That's pretty good.
That's on the very affordable side.
Yeah, that's really good.
Duncan.
In this age of really expensive pickups.
Especially expensive PAFs.
Yeah, I looked at how much Ron Ellis PAFs are going for last night. It's like
pretty bad.
$875 for a set.
I know someone that paid over $500 for a set of strap pickups, and I was like,
"Oh my gosh!"
I just don't know. No.
Yeah, I can't get behind it.
And I have $200 pickups.
Yeah, like that's where I start to think of like, okay, this is great stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of great stuff, Eastman's Juliet LA coming in a new finish.
I love it. It's not quite a Pelham. It's a lighter blue than that.
Yeah.
But
I just love this guitar. Yeah,
you've got a Les Trem with a Bigsby arm on it. So I don't know what model that is. I don't know if it says it, but
I don't know.
The Goldo, it's a Goldo variant. So it's a Goldo Les Trem with a Goldo 3-point Vario moving bridge. So Eastman, if for those that don't know, Eastman is actually really, I think they're affiliated with Goldo in some way, because they use Goldo hardware on a lot of their stuff, including the Revoltas that they make too.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. This has a little bit of a Revolta vibe.
Yeah, so Revolta is made by Eastman.
Yeah, that's right. It's got the Seymour Duncan Radiator Fat Cat P90s with gold foil cover, so it's a humbucker size P90,
so cool.
Under a gold foil cover. It looks fantastic.
It's got a raised center block, but it's still like a single cut. It's like an offset single cut kind of shape. So it's inspired by a few different guitars, and also the pickup switch is in the Les Paul position, but it's a 3-way switch, like a Telecaster style 3-way blade.
Feels very airline.
Yeah. Well, doesn't Eastman make an airline?
Yes, they do. They do. The headstock, it's got that beveled, like 2 finished duotone headstock that's so popular now.
Yeah. So last year the Juliet had a proper, like an official Bigsby. So this is the Goldo dip version of it. Mm-hmm. So if you haven't tried a Les Tram or a Goldo, they don't have as much of a dead zone as a Bigsby does. Yeah,
Bigsby's got a big spot in the middle where nothing happens.
Not a lot happens. It's soft for a minute and then starts to go. So as someone who has, I don't have a Les Trem, but I have a Goldo tremolo on my. I used to have a Les Trem. Yeah, they're much more immediate the way like a Strat tremolo is.
Yeah,
but they still have the softer range of a Bigsby.
That's cool. Well, it's expensive at $2,000, but I think this is a really, really rad guitar, and I really, really want to try one.
Yeah. $2,000. Yeah, it's on the high end, especially with Pushman Eastman's brand, because they're known as a foreign-made guitar.
Yeah, they've done some things lately to push into the higher end, especially with their jazz guitars. They've really put out some really incredible upper end jazz. I'll say upper end, for an import guitar. Mm-hmm. I think they're making some really, really good stuff.
Well, and their acoustics are edging into the market too.
Yeah, they are. They make really great acoustics. I've played a bunch of them.
Yeah, they had some mahogany models at CME when I was over there looking at acoustics with my buddy, and we kind of quickly learned he doesn't like mahogany models, but he really wanted rosewood, so we kind of focused in on that pretty quick. But anyway,
yeah. By the way, that one drop price. By the way, just letting you know,
he still hasn't bought it, has he?
It's still up there.
All right, I'm texting Jack right now. Why don't you introduce this next guitar while I do that?
So while you're texting Jack, Donner has introduced the ultra lightweight Hushx headless guitar, which is if you remember the Yamaha, like wild looking, like it was like a slab of wood and a couple of IKEA art fixture things attached to the sides of it. That's what this is. And it is headless. So it is designed to be as lightweight as a laptop, beginner friendly, comes with a gig bag, earphones, strap, tuner. It's fine. It's got a 25.5-inch scale length. It's got a compound radius of 10 to 14, so super flat. It looks really small. It looks like it breaks down to an even smaller size if these arms can be removed. Could be a great travel guitar. But yeah, I think it's really, really interesting. I'm looking for the price on it.
It reminds me so much of like the old Yamaha classical silent guitar.
Yeah.
Also, did you see the we talked about it last week, the Strandberg that's doing this kind of idea?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Very interesting. So very much in that kind of vibe. I still don't know if Donner will ever get me to play a guitar of theirs.
They sent me one a couple of years ago, one of their Strat variants, the something 400. It was a pretty good guitar, especially when you consider the money. Mm-hmm. I thought it played really good, and with just some basic setup, became a really nice guitar. Ended up giving that one away through the podcast. But yeah, I think Donner's filling a really nice place in the market. That place where like Bullet Squires used to fill. Mm-hmm. Like that super bottom, but they're way better quality, in my opinion, than any of the Bullet Squires ever were.
Yeah, I don't know how much the Bullet Mustang is now $200, isn't it? Like it.
I think so.
That market it all got really expensive for what it is. We were like
they're currently marked down to $170.
The $99 guitar is not really a thing right now.
Yeah.
So, well,
and
I guess there might be a
on
Rogue or something in that price point, but you don't want it.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, if we want to get way out of the $99 price mark, Taylor has announced a new version of the 814 CE, which is, at this point, I will say the flagship Taylor.
Yeah, that's what they call it.
I think I don't think the 810 is their flagship anymore. I think the 14 has really taken over as Taylor's shape. So, you've got Adirondack spruce soundboard, solid Indian rosewood back and sides, with the beveled armrests and the contoured cutaway also being beveled, and their V-class bracing system. So you got all of it right there, all the features. I love that the beveled armrests are coming into lower tiers. I'm not really saying that the 8 is a lower tier, but
yeah, I was about to say this is a $4,500 guitar. It's hard to call it.
Yeah,
in lower tier.
I mean, this is their flagship model, so yeah. It's there. If you haven't ever played an acoustic with an arm bevel, it's actually fantastic.
I played one recently, and it was so ridiculously comfortable to play. That guitar is still for sale. That's why I'm not saying it out loud what it is. I cannot afford it, but it haunts me.
Yeah, I know what it is. Because we don't compete.
Exactly.
It's like
I want it, but I can't get it.
It was like me with my college roommate. We never competed over a girl because.
Yep. Nope. Got to back off.
We were just looking at entirely different groups of people, different heights, different features, everything. Like, so it was never. If we met somebody, we're like, you should meet my roommate. Like, it was just like. It worked out. Also, gold hardware. Thoughts? Yeah,
that's interesting.
It's antique gold. It's not bright gold.
That's good. It's still interesting.
Also, has the expression. It has the Expression 2 system on it, so they're still going that route.
I still just don't get excited about Taylors.
They're great guitars. If you love one, love it. If you are stuck in traditional sounds, which I'm not trying to talk down to anybody in that group. Yeah. As a recent purchaser of a D28, I am stuck in that too.
Yep.
And that guitar is getting a lot of play for me lately. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, now that my nose crap is slowly getting over, you might not hear it. Actually, listeners of if you guys would go back a month or two of the podcast, my voice sounded different. I was dealing with all these steroids coming into my throat and killing my voice. So it's nice. Wow. I'm able to sing again. So I've been doing that.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I'm a long ways from having the same strength at singing that I used to have. But I digress. We talked about this in the pre-app. We've been teasing it for a while. It's finally here. Godin has the Multiac Mundial series acoustic guitar, and when I say acoustic, it's a nylon. Yeah, it's a flat body nylon with the little Godin thing up in the upper horn. So let's call it what it is. Ibanez, you might have re-inspired this product category.
Yeah, because this was like when you put this in a link, I thought they already made this product.
I think they used to. I think they used to make something like that.
Yeah, because the Multiac series is real cool. Like they make one that I really want, and it's kind of out of nowhere, and I can't afford one because it's just too expensive for a niche instrument. But they actually make a nylon stringed electric acoustic oud.
Ooh.
That is completely fretless. It's 11 string. Oh gosh. I think it's 11. I think everything is like a 12 string except the lowest string. It's a single string instead of a course of two.
Oh, is it kind of like, didn't Taylor do that with the 8-string acoustics they were doing for a little while, or like?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they were doing some not perfectly doubled up.
Yeah, But it's specifically the Godin is specifically meant to get those microtonal, Arab style musical influences because it's fretless and nylon strings. Really cool. But that's like, this is a realm Godin has lived in for a while. This weird, we do different things. Like they had so many guitars that, like I guess Parker did it too, but Godin I feel like did it better. They did the whole like electric guitar, but hey, here's MIDI connectivity and a piezo pickup.
Yeah. So just give some context here. The multi-act has existed. They've had the deluxe for a while that hits that $2,300 price point, or they used to be $2,750. So like they used to be up there. This Mundial part, there's 4 different finishes. There's the blue, which is kind of a gray. Yeah, it's very much a gray, but it's a bluish gray or a grayish blue. There's the Aztec red, which is a very deep red, and it's kind of like there's a canyon burst and there's a cream finish. These are all coming in at the $1,300 price point. So that's really happening. Awesome. Now, that's much more expensive than the Tim Henson. Yeah. But I think they recognize that there's our really fancy ones, Ibanez is coming out with these cheap ones and they sound like crazy. Let's get our price point down. Yep. And that's what they did.
I think they look good. It's not something that is marketed to me, but I can definitely see the place for them.
Yeah, also, and painting them. So if you look at the old Godin line, they're all natural tops. Yep. Different shades of stain on them, but they're natural tops. So by going to a painted top as well, I think there's just a market for it. So pretty cool. I heard about this, the X pick. People were joking about it. Another new pick. Samurai Guitar Player calls it the worst guitar product ever.
It's.
So I mean, it's even people calling it like, is this pseudoscience? So it's allegedly using magnetic fields as part of the affecting the tone. Now, note any ferrous metal will interfere with the electric field that is created by your pickup. That is how they work. That's why when you change materials of strings, your guitar sounds different, because the magnetic field is interacting with it differently. That's a real thing. That's the real science of it.
The X pick was described as less of a pick and more of a remote control for your pickups. What? I need to see video of this thing, but it just seems dumb. This is one of those things, like I have a slide in a drawer that someone gave me because they thought I really would want this, and since they'll never listen to this, I can say I never would have wanted this. It's a guitar slide made out of metal that's in the shape of a heart and is painted blue. They called it the Blues Heart Slide. And by using the various edges, because obviously with the heart, it's got one part where the two tops of the heart like can double on the strings, or like there's a point at the bottom. You can use that against the string. Like, it sounds different based on which edge you... No, it doesn't. It just sounds like crap. This feels like it's in the same category.
Yeah. We've been through enough of these kind of things.
100%.
That's really kind of where I put it, where like you look at guitar crap for long enough, and we all know a friend that's probably gushing over this, that has fallen for it too.
We've all got that friend.
We all have that friend.
That same friend had a fat finger on their Strat in the early 2000s.
Oh, I almost bought one of those when I was like 12.
There's more mass on the headstock, man. Gives you more sustain.
Yep. Hey, Fender actually sold those.
They did. They sold the shit out of them. And it was all snake oil. It was... I don't think sustain is as big a deal on electric guitar as people make it out to be.
I have one guitar that I would actually say sustains, and it's too much.
Yeah.
But when
anyway.
you're talking to new guitar players who can't hold a guitar,
Yep.
they want more sustain. You can sell them stuff, and the reality is, go work your fingers.
Yeah, work your fingers and get your guitar set up. You'll be fine.
Yeah, get some calluses, get all your stuff together. All right, let's just bash through the last couple of things of this because we're kind of running up on time here.
We're past the guitar stuff at this point.
Yeah, so Antelope Audio has released the Atlas i8 desktop monitors. These are their first ones. Antelope Audio has been making a name for themselves in the digital audio market. They're kind of one of those not mainstream yet, but they keep showing up with cool stuff. So I'm imagining these sound fantastic. I can't wait to get ears on them and check them out.
They use a parallel bass driver, which is really cool. But they're also $2,500 each.
Yeah, so they're also Atlas is more in the premium market. They're not the cheap guy. They're not going to be a Focusrite. They're a Universal Audio competitor if you really think about it price point and features wise. Yeah, but they're just not as big as Universal Audio.
Yeah, so. This is for somebody who's actually doing this. Maybe they do have. Maybe they're still a home studio, but they're actually mixing commercially for people. These are for those folks.
If you're making money mixing, this is now in your market.
Exactly.
If you're trying to dial in your Helix at home, go buy some Yamahas.
Yeah, go buy some Yamahas or some JBLs like I did.
Or some M Audio BX6s. They're fine. Or BX5s. They're fine. They're fine.
That's what my wife says. That's what I say when I don't like something. It's fine.
Yeah. My favorite, I had a coworker who'd always go, it's average. That was his insulting thing. Now I'm hearing people call things mid. So.
Oh, yeah, that's mid.
Yeah, it's mid. The Myberg M28 is an all-new microphone that's not trying to emulate an old one. It's a large diaphragm condenser microphone hitting the $3,000 price point. So whether it's trying to emulate a U87 or not, it's going to be compared to one because the price point's there. So I'd love to hear some side-by-side demos at some point. I don't have those available yet, so I have no judgment. Yeah. But also, again, not for you unless you're making significant money recording people.
Right. This isn't for you. Stick with if you're just sitting around at home and you want to tinker with microphone placement. I mean, there's lots of options in the AKG world that are fine for the hobbyist.
Yeah. Other news, Yamaha has announced the YH-WL500 wireless headphones. So what do you think about wireless headphones with music? What's the first thing you think about?
Latency.
Latency is exactly it. These have 4 milliseconds of latency. So for those of you that need some math quick here, sound moves at 1 foot a millisecond nominally. That's the speed of sound through air. And so 4 milliseconds is 4 feet of distance. It's next to nothing.
Yep, that's your on stage next to your bandmate reacting to them.
Yes. So this is comparable with the Shure in-ear and Sennheiser in-ear systems. A Kemper has a latency a about 5 milliseconds. Okay. No one complains about the latency on a Kemper. Right. Or Quad Cortex. A lot of those modelers are around that kind of latency.
Right.
So this kind of latency is normal. Chances are your delay pedal might have this level of latency.
See, that's what I was going to say. You play through enough digital effects, you end up with 2, 3, 4 milliseconds of latency.
Yeah.
If you do any work with online, or not online, but digital, for example, the neural stuff I was playing with, I had to go in and adjust the buffer size because it defaulted to a 10 millisecond delay with the buffer. And I was like, that's too much. I can't play with that. I don't like that.
And that's also because those used to slam older processors. So you saw people with those things complaining about them. So
I bumped it down to 3.7, and guess what? It felt like playing my amp.
50 milliseconds is where it's visible, just so you know. So that's the classic one in video. 50 milliseconds was the holy grail of chasing it in digital. So someone waving their arms doing that on stage, and the monitor behind them agreeing with it. Great thing that we're an audio only podcast. No one actually sees that. Your Bluetooth headphones can be up to 200 milliseconds. I notice this constantly when I'm trying to watch something on my phone and I'm listening to it. The lips don't match up.
Yeah.
They're out of sync.
Yeah,
So
it's really frustrating.
So 4 milliseconds makes this world pretty cool, and also the idea of whatever technology they're using. I mean, I'm sure this will go into higher end or different studio wireless headsets, but it's wireless, and you don't have to deal with a body pack, and you don't have to deal with IEMs. So I can see studios picking this up.
Mm-hmm.
Or something like that. I know instead of running the Aviom stand, Avioms, that's an old brand, but like, you know what I mean, the in-ear mix stands or different things. This is a new option in that realm that's actually quite viable and usable.
Aviom, great paperweights in every back room of every church in America.
Yeah. You know who else would probably love this?
Who's that?
Gamers.
Yeah.
This might be a big play in the gamer realm. So pretty cool.
Yeah, except that, you know, a $435 price tag.
Gamers, put RGB on it.
They'll pay for it.
Yep. So cool things coming out of them there. And the last one, Sony released a set of headphones, the MDR MV1, aimed at spatial sound creators. So there's something unique in here for doing 3D audio mixing. Now, everyone's like, 3D audio mixing, you only have 2 speakers because you only have 2 ears, yada, yada, yada. I get it. But it's a lot about ultrasonic frequency. So these go up from 5 hertz to 80 kilohertz. Now,
oh, wow.
We'll have a long discussion about whether you can hear any of that, since most of you probably can't hear anything over 16 kilohertz. And for fun, one of these days, podcasts ruin the quality. It wouldn't work anymore.
Yep.
I was going to say, at some point, I should just run like an 18 kilohertz sound and see who actually hears it and not. Because that used to be a fun little joke I had. Was like I'd run like a 20 kilohertz tone in a room and wait till somebody says something.
Because somebody's going to feel uneasy about it.
Someone's going to hear it eventually, yeah.
They'll either hear it or they'll feel it. That's the way I feel about things like once you get below 20 hertz, you get that like 10 hertz territory, or even 20. Like supposedly human ears can hear it, but most people can't.
Yeah.
You feel it.
You can feel it at low frequency. Yeah, so that's called infrasound.
Yeah.
And that's a big actually complaint with wind farms.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
So people living by wind farms are complaining about their feeling the sound because it's loud at infrasound, but you can't physically hear it, but your body feels that dynamic pressure on the body. And that has been Scott's Acoustics Corner for the day.
Well, so on this whole 360 audio, yeah. Everybody's like, oh, stereo, 2 ears, blah, blah. Oh, I'll tell you what, until you've experienced Atmos and you hear it, get ready. It's coming. Like, this is going to be a big deal.
I'm not going to say what it is, but for those of you that follow me on LinkedIn, I'm going to start writing about spatial sound a lot because I have a new product coming to the market now in spatial audio. And it's a heavy thing with like me talking about like numbers and things like that with my clients I talk to. You need to hear it. And so I have some fun things coming out that I'm not going to talk anymore about until it's official. But we've already launched it internally. We're already proposing on it for projects.
Nice.
We got a cool. We are dabbling in spatial audio because it's a much more economical and quicker way to demonstrate to people what we're seeing, hearing, and feeling. Instead of, hey, come into our sound room and we'll do an audio demo. And now I can just like send them something. So Phillip, I'll send you the live demo.
Yeah, or I can just follow you on LinkedIn. That'd be fun.
Oh, I already have the live demo made, so I can just send that to you.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm pumped. I want to hear it.
Yep. 3D audio is the market right now. Facebook's making a play in this. Dolby's making a play in this.
Well, here's the deal. Apple's making a play on it. If you go watch Colt Caparoon's videos on Atmos, they're already getting ready, like, because he had to make a big move in his studio to be able to start mixing in Atmos, because I think Apple said, or maybe Spotify said, I can't remember which, that basically you're not going to get added to a playlist if you're not mixed in Atmos.
Well, Apple has already had spatial audio integrated into their AirPods line. Which everyone turns off because they hate it.
Yep. Well, it's because the tech isn't quite there yet.
Well,
in the headphone,
stereo mixed in spatial audio locks you into a spot.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
means you have to put your phone in the middle of you.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay.
Otherwise, it always sounds like it's coming from one side or the other.
That tracks.
Whereas true headphones, sometimes you don't want spatial audio. You just want headphones because you just want to be enveloped in this world, where spatial audio actually takes you away from the music a little bit if it's just stereo mixed in spatial. You need the true surround for that envelopment.
Yeah. Well, all I know is I have started to listen to some of it, and I want to. At some point, headphone technology is going to really catch up with things like. Obviously, it's starting to get there. I've always been impressed with Sony's headphones, the MDR line. I think it's the MDR line. Maybe it's just
They've
the MD
also
line.
been one of the best bang for your buck headphones out there.
Yep. I used to have a set of
1000s.
MD somethings. I don't know. They weren't like super expensive, but when they finally broke, and that was my own fault. It was a long story. I won't even go into it. But when they were broken, I have yet to find a pair of headphones in the price point that gave me comfort, audio quality, like all the things that those headphones gave me. And I think it's a discontinued model, which is why I didn't replace them with the identical ones. You know what I mean? So I know that Sony's going to do it right.
For sure. And with that, let's wind down the show, shall we?
Yeah, I think we're there.
Thanks everybody for joining us, particularly, man, my words hard. Phillip, thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah.
Give a quick little plug for, what you got going on.
Sure. So 40 Watt Podcast, you can go to 40wattpodcast.com, or you can go to Linktree. There's links everywhere, social media at 40 Watt Podcast. Or you can just go listen to the podcast wherever you listen to them, and on YouTube. Remember to like, subscribe, follow, I don't know, do all the things they tell you to do. But I'm around.
Very cool. Well, for us, you can find everything we do at theeffectsloop.com. That's our Linktree. You can find our Threadless, our Patreon. Particularly, thank you to our patrons who help support the show and keep this running. We definitely love having sponsors and those kind of things, but our Patreons really pay the bills around here, and that keeps our show afloat and lets us kind of have some fun stuff that we do.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Phillip. If you join at any tier, you get our episodes early, and there's a bonus episode that comes with that. If you join at our $5 tier, you get into a secret chat group that is direct access to us, often influences the show. You often get us discussing news events as they come. So it's like the show just kind of keeps going the whole week. And particularly if you have a certain type of gear that you like and your affinity to, we get to know you. And it actually influences things here. Headless guitars and high gain amps have never been Diaz's in my thing at all. But you're seeing us talk about it more and more because people like Jason and Tom love those things, and they get our ear and we start looking at them. So think about that. And then, the last thing that we would love to thank is our sponsor for this week's episode, Electromotive Sound Company. Go check them out, electromotivesound.com. Links in the show notes. You can check them out.
And buy a Clone V3.
Yeah, Clone V3 is out now. We've been long waiting for it. New features added. It's... Okay, I don't have mine in hand yet. I'm going to be in a later batch.
Yeah.
I own a Klon.
Mm-hmm.
Ben has given me a pedal already that I have blind tested, and I can't tell the difference.
Yeah. Dude, that's the way I feel about it. I don't own any other... I still have a dual pedal that has one in it, but I don't have a standalone Klon circuit that isn't one of Ben's at this point. Because I don't need another one. They sound amazing. I love them. That's not me just blowing smoke. I've had a bunch. I had the JHS Klon. It was great, but I sold it because somebody was stupid enough to give me $1,000 for it. Mm-hmm. So of course I sold it. Yeah, go get one. I'm really excited to see what he starts putting out in addition to it, because obviously he's not going to stop there.
No, I hope not. I mean, I have a prototype of something that he never released. So
really?
Yeah. And it's good. You know what it actually sounded amazing at, and everyone laughed at me when I said? I ran it into my metal zone, and it made it amazing.
Oh.
So,
yeah.
Weird, because that was what's on my desk at that given point when, you know, I finally test all the pedals that I have. When I buy a batch and then I don't plug any of them in for a while because I don't use a pedal board, so I never have them out. Anyway, with that, let's wrap up the week. Thanks for joining us, everybody. And also, I'm probably going to be on Philip's show this week too, so show him some love. Go listen to that.
Yeah, we're going to make that happen.
Yeah.
Awesome.
See you, everybody.
Peace.
Bye.
Is this where we talk over the music? Is that what this is?
Can be if you want.
It's fine because I'm not going to listen to this episode now, so because I was on it.
We are strong. We have to just keep pushing along. We are one. So let's come together, show some love. There are many things that this world needs, but the most important one is unity. United we stand, divided we fall. Through the ages this has been the serve of us all. Yeah. We are strong. We have to just keep pushing along. We are one. So let's come together, show some love. This song is not about race or politics, but the hate that resides in the hearts of men. Desperate times call in desperate measures. So why don't we be desperate to love each other?
Let's erase hate from the dictionary. Why is negativity always drawn out? Pictionary, visualize love, energize lives together. We undefeated. A plan to make well, there's no gloves needed. When we weed into the mindset of achieving and believing in community that remains happy. Never after, the world should be one. Hate annihilated, every heart is one. Love again. So